All right, so everyone's been talking about these new music phones, right? The 16 Pro and the Pro Max.
Yeah. Seems like there's a lot of hype.
Yeah. So we're going to take a deep dive today into a review.
Oh, cool.
From RechargeMyTopup.com.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that site before.
Yeah, and we're going to try to figure out what's really different this time around with these new phones.
Yeah, is it worth all the hype?
Right, like, is this a game changer or just kind of the same old, you know?
Another iterative update.
Exactly, yeah. So
It's interesting that this review comes from RechargeMyTopup.com. I mean, they're usually all about, getting the most out of your current device, right? Not necessarily pushing the new stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe they'll have some interesting insights.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's jump in. First impressions, design thinner bezels again. They're calling it an immersive experience.
Right.
But haven't bezels been shrinking, like, forever?
Pretty much, yeah.
So is this just more the same, or is there something different about it this time?
Well, I think it's part of a bigger trend, maximizing that screen real estate.
Right.
I mean, think about it. Everything's on these screens now, videos, games, all that.
That's true.
But they're also doing a new color.
Oh, yeah.
This desert titanium.
I wonder what that looks like.
Yeah.
Like sleek? Or is it more rugged?
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder what statement are they trying to make with this new color, right?
Yeah, like what does that say about Apple's design philosophy this time around?
Right, like maybe they're going for a more sophisticated look, premium,
Yeah.
It's not just a tech gadget anymore, it's a fashion statement.
Oh, for sure.
People want their phone to, match their style.
Right, express the personality.
Exactly.
Okay, let's get into the tech a little bit.
All right.
The A18 Pro chip, 20% faster.
Wow.
Especially for gaming, they say.
Okay.
But is that all just marketing hype?
Yeah.
Or is it something that people will actually notice a difference?
Good question.
Yeah.
Well, they're using this 3-nanometer process now to make these chips. It sounds very technical.
Yeah.
But basically it means they're cramming even more transistors onto the chip.
Oh, wow.
So it's like fitting more horses under the hood.
Okay, more power.
Yeah, more power, more efficiency.
So does that mean that even if I'm not like a hardcore gamer,
Right.
I'll still benefit from that new chip?
I think so, yeah, because everything will be smoother, right?
Yeah.
Multitasking apps will load faster.
Okay.
Might even improve battery life.
Oh, interesting.
So it's not just about, pushing pixels for gamers.
Yeah.
It affects everyone.
Right. The whole experience.
Exactly.
Okay, now on to the part that I think everybody always wants to talk about.
The camera.
The camera. Yes. 48 megapixels.
Whoa.
That's a big number, but does that actually translate to better photos?
Well, megapixels aren't the whole story, right?
Right.
This review mentioned something called Sensor Shift OIS.
Okay.
And it's like having this tiny little gimbal built into your phone
Oh, cool.
to keep your shots steady,
Nice.
even if your hands are shaky.
I like that.
And they've improved the ultra-wide lens, too.
Oh, nice.
So think about, those big landscape shots
Yeah.
or those group photos where you're trying to fit everybody in.
Yes.
It's going to be a lot easier.
Awesome. And they added a dedicated camera control button.
Oh, wow.
So that seems like a big change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will that actually make a difference, though, for people?
Right, for the average user.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see how that would be helpful.
totally. Because, you're trying to capture a moment.
Right.
And you can just quickly switch modes, zoom in, zoom out,
Right.
all without having to, fumble around on the touchscreen.
Yeah.
So it makes it more intuitive,
Yeah.
more responsive.
Okay, so it seems like all these little things are adding up to a pretty big change.
Yeah, it could be.
What about video? Any improvements there?
Oh, yeah. They bumped it up to 4K resolution at 120 frames per second.
Wow.
So that means you can capture those epic moments in super slow-mo.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's going to be crystal clear.
Nice.
So,
All right, so let's move on to software iOS 18.
okay.
This new Apple Intelligence Suite.
Right.
Sounds like Siri is getting a major upgrade.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't really understand what that means.
Right.
Like, how is that going to change how we use our phones?
So it's not just about Siri understanding you better.
Okay.
It's also about real-time object recognition.
What?
Yeah, so you can point your camera at something, and your phone will be able to tell you what it is.
Wow.
Pull up information.
That's crazy.
Even translate text.
So my phone is like watching me now.
Yeah. I mean, it does raise some questions about privacy, right?
Right.
Like, how much access are we giving these devices?
Right.
But there's potential benefits, too.
Okay, like what?
Well, think about accessibility for people who are visually impaired.
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, that could be a game changer.
Yeah. It's amazing how technology can be used for,
Right.
so many different things.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, the review also mentions a sales ban in Indonesia.
Oh, right.
Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it's because of some local content regulations.
Oh, okay.
Governments are increasingly setting rules about what can be sold in their countries. And sometimes these tech companies kind of get caught in the crossfire.
Well, it's not just about the tech itself. It's also about politics and regulations.
Exactly.
It seems like there's always more to the story than meets the eye.
For sure.
So what are your initial thoughts so far?
I mean, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
They've clearly put a lot of thought into improving the user experience.
Yeah.
Not just adding flashy new features.
Right.
But the question is it worth the price tag?
Yeah, that's the big question, right?
Because it starts at $999.
Yeah.
So is it a splurge that you'll regret or an investment that will actually,
change how you use your phone?
Exactly.
That's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. We're going to break it all down.
Right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So is it worth it?
That's the big question, right?
$999.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is.
So we really need to think about, what do you use your phone for?
Right. Because a feature that's a game changer for one person could be totally irrelevant to someone else.
Exactly.
So let's break it down a little bit.
Okay.
What about the social media folks?
Yeah.
The people who are always snapping pics, sharing stories.
Yeah.
Is this the phone for them?
Well, I think they'd be pretty happy with this upgrade.
Yeah.
I mean, that 48 megapixel camera, the improved ultra wide lens.
Right.
You're going to get some really good photos.
Okay.
Even in low light.
Nice.
And that camera control button.
Yeah.
I think that could be a game changer for those quick, candid moments.
Yeah, for sure. But what about video?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like social media is all about video these days.
It is.
Like more than photos even.
Yeah. And they've definitely upped their game in that department.
Okay. How so?
Well, 4K resolution at 120 frames per second.
Yeah, we talked about that.
That's super slow motion.
Right.
So you can capture those, epic moments.
Okay.
In amazing detail.
Like what?
Think about, dance moves.
Okay.
Or your dog catching a Frisbee.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then editing and sharing those videos.
Right.
That's going to be so much faster, too, with that A18 Pro chip.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No more waiting around for things to process.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about how that faster chip benefits gamers.
Right.
But what about people who use their phones more for work?
Oh, yeah.
Will they see a difference?
Totally. I think they'll see a big difference.
Okay.
Because think about multitasking between apps,
right,
editing documents on the go.
Yeah.
That extra processing power is going to make everything so much faster.
Okay, so no more waiting for your spreadsheet to load when you're in an important meeting or something.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got our social media folks.
Yeah.
We've got our busy professionals.
Right.
What about people who are always on the go?
Okay.
Like travelers.
Yeah, the nomad.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they'll appreciate that longer battery life.
Oh, for sure.
And that AI-powered object recognition.
Right.
Could be really helpful.
Like how?
Well, imagine you're in a foreign country.
Okay.
You point your phone at a landmark.
Yeah.
And it instantly gives you information about it.
Oh, wow.
No more, struggling with language barriers or clunky travel apps.
We're just getting lost.
Totally.
And then, actually being able to use those features.
Right.
Without your phone dying halfway through the day.
Yeah. Battery life is key for travelers.
Absolutely. Speaking of travel.
Yeah.
We talked about that sales ban in Indonesia.
Right.
What are the implications of that?
I mean, it just goes to show that, tech isn't just about specs and features.
Right.
It's also about global politics and regulations.
Right.
Governments are making their own rules.
Yeah.
And that can impact, which products are available where.
Yeah. So it's a good reminder that access to technology isn't equal everywhere.
For sure.
Okay. So what about people who are concerned about privacy? That's a good question.
With all this talk about AI and object recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a trade-off there?
Right, between convenience and our data.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a valid concern for sure.
Right.
The more our phones can do,
yeah,
the more data they collect about us.
Right.
So you got to be aware of that.
Yeah.
Make informed choices about what you're comfortable sharing.
So check your privacy settings.
Definitely.
Okay, good advice. But let's not forget about the fun stuff.
What's that?
Custom emojis.
Oh, yeah.
Is that just a gimmick or is there something more to it?
It might seem frivolous.
Yeah.
But I think it speaks to this desire for personalization. Yeah. We want our phones to reflect our individuality.
Right.
And emojis have become such a big part of how we express ourselves online.
It's like a whole new language.
It is.
So for people who are emoji obsessed,
right,
this update might be worth it just for that.
Okay, let's talk connectivity.
All right.
Wi-Fi 7 sounds impressive.
It does.
But is it really that much faster?
I mean, in the real world, it depends on your internet plan.
Okay.
And your router.
Right.
If you have the infrastructure to support it, then you could be downloading movies in seconds.
Wow.
But for a lot of people,
it
might not make a noticeable difference.
So it's kind of like having a Ferrari, but only being able to drive it in a school zone?
Exactly.
Okay, so maybe more of a future-proofing feature than a must-have right now.
Right.
Okay. I think we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah, we have.
Is there anything we've missed?
Well, we talked about the camera, the chip, the software, even the global context.
Yeah.
But we haven't really talked about, like, the overall design philosophy.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it seems like Apple is really focused on, creating this seamless, intuitive user experience.
Yeah.
Like the thinner bezels.
Yeah.
The camera control button.
Right.
All those AI-powered features.
Yeah.
It's all about making the phone feel like an extension of you.
Interesting.
A tool that anticipates your needs.
So it's like they're trying to blur the lines between the hardware and the software, creating this more integrated experience.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it all comes down to the price.
Right. It always does.
Is it worth it?
Right.
So to help us figure that out, maybe we can play a little game.
Okay. I like games.
All right. So we'll call it Worth the Upgrade or Hard Pass.
All right. I'm in.
Okay. So first up, the hardcore gamer.
Okay.
They want the best performance, the smoothest graphics, no compromises.
Right.
Worth the upgrade or hard pass?
Oh, for the hardcore gamer, it's definitely worth the upgrade.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that A18 Pro chip is a beast.
Yeah, and they've improved the thermal management too.
Oh, nice. So
no more overheating.
Okay, good.
Even during those long gaming sessions. All right, next up, the photography enthusiast.
Okay.
They're all about capturing those stunning shots.
Right.
Whether it's for social media or just, personal memories.
Yeah.
Worth the upgrade or hard pass?
I mean, with that 48 megapixel camera, the sensor shift OIS, the improved ultra wide lens.
Right.
It's going to be tough to resist for them.
Yeah.
Plus that camera control button could be a game changer.
Right. So you're thinking worth the upgrade.
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
For that group.
Yeah.
Right.
Now for the budget-conscious user.
Okay.
They want a reliable phone, decent battery life.
Right.
But they're not chasing the latest and greatest worth the upgrade or hard pass.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, the iPhone 16 Pro is a great phone.
Yeah.
But that $999 price tag is a big hurdle.
It is?
So for this user, I'd say hard pass.
Okay.
There are definitely more affordable options out there.
Right. That would probably meet their needs just fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a good reminder that the best phone isn't always the most expensive one. It's about finding the right fit.
For sure.
For your needs and your budget.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, technology is always changing.
It is.
So if you wait a little bit,
yeah,
the price might drop.
Right. Or a newer model comes out.
Right, exactly.
With even better features.
So maybe patience is a virtue.
I think so.
Especially in the tech world.
For sure.
Okay, so we've explored the specs, the features, the pros, the cons. What are your final thoughts on the iPhone 16 Pro?
It's a powerful device.
Yeah.
Clearly focused on user experience.
Okay.
From the thinner bezels to the AI-powered features.
Yeah.
I think Apple is really trying to create a more intuitive and seamless way to interact with our phones.
Right.
So whether that's worth the premium price, that's up to you.
It's a personal decision.
It is. But it's definitely a phone that pushes the boundaries.
For sure.
Of what's possible.
Well, it's been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of what this phone is all about.
Good.
So any last words of wisdom for our listeners who are still on the fence?
Yeah, don't get caught up in the hype.
Okay.
Take some time to really consider your needs, your budget, how you actually use your phone.
Right.
Read reviews, compare specs. Maybe even try out the phone in person.
Yeah, that's always a good idea.
Before you make a decision.
Great advice.
Yeah.
And remember, technology is always evolving.
Right.
So what's cutting edge today might be commonplace tomorrow.
Exactly.
So stay informed, stay curious.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to wait for the right phone for you.
Well said.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure diving into this with you.
Likewise.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Don't forget to share your thoughts on the iPhone 16 Pro.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Using the hashtag the deep dive.
We love hearing from you.
We always love hearing from you.
Until next time.
Keep exploring the ever-changing world of technology.
That's right.
And remember, the most important question isn't what's new. It's how will this change how we live, work, and connect with each other.
Well said.
All right. See you on the next deep dive.
See ya.